Hey everyone, welcome to the Dare to Care podcast, the podcast where we talk about the inner workings of ministry at Inspire Family Fellowship and community stories within the church. If you have comments, stories, or questions about Inspire or our Dare to Care ministries at any point during our podcast today, feel free to send those questions to me, Amy at inspirefamily.org. We also invite you to join us in person at Inspire any Sunday or Wednesday that you're able to at 523 North 21st Street, Bismarck, North Dakota. Our Sunday services are at 9:15 and 10:45, and Wednesday nights start at 5 p.m. with a meal. Classes for all ages at 6, and our family service is at 7 p.m. My name is Amy Langang, and I'm the Dare to Care coordinator here at Inspire Family Fellowship. And today I am joined with Pastor Rob.
Hello.
And our special guest, Janice Liudahl.
Hello.
Oh my goodness, I finally know somebody.
Hooray!
For like more than, the 9 months I've worked here that's on the podcast. This is exciting for me.
Exciting. Okay, well then you're in charge then. I'll just sit here. I haven't had a nap yet today. We're recording this like 2 days after the time change, so we're all a little
bit tired.
We are. Well, I didn't mean that I wanted to run the show. But I will just say that Janice is just a special person to me because when we came to Inspire, she just kind of took Scott, my husband, and I under her wing and just made us feel so welcome. And
I would have to say and add to that, Janice has big wings because I think there's a lot of us hiding under there.
There are.
And
it's easy to do.
So thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to come and visit with us and tell us your story. And I can't wait to hear it all. I've also known you for a while, but I don't know if I know all the details of your life.
A lot of people don't know like where I came from and my background. They know me from Inspire Forward.
Well, exactly. So. What is your background? Where do you come from? What happened before you got to Inspire?
I was born. No.
Good. Yeah. Me too. We have that in common.
I think the interesting part that people don't realize is that I was born in a small town in western North Dakota called Wheelock, North Dakota.
I have literally never heard of that town.
Between Epping and Ray, very small town.
You know it's small when the two towns she references, I'm also not super familiar. I've heard of Ray.
I've heard of Ray as well.
Okay. Anyway. Epping's a little bit further the other way.
Okay.
But when I was born, we had kind of a family that was years apart in age. My older sister, the oldest sibling, was 21 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
And then we had two brothers in between, and then myself. And my mom was almost 50 years old when she had me.
Oh, wow.
So I grew up almost like an only child because by the time I was old enough to know my brothers, they were in high school and didn't want anything to do with me.
For sure.
So that's where we started. I was there the first 6 years of my life, went to first grade at a elementary school there. Still remember my first grade teacher's name.
I remember my first grade teacher. Amy was the first grade teacher.
I was your teacher. Yeah. And then my folks decided they wanted to get closer to Williston, so we moved outside of Williston, continued education at two country schools.
Okay.
And went to country school up until the 6th grade, and then I got to move to the big town and the big junior high.
Yeah.
In Williston.
In Williston. And when you go in from a country school to junior high, it's different. I mean, all the little friendships are already formed, and you're dropped into a much bigger school area than that. So went to junior high in Williston for 2 years, then moved up to the high school in Williston for my last 4 years, and graduated in 1970.
Very cool. That's awesome. So, I look back on raising children now, and if I could skip any part, it would be the middle school part. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just for the elementary was fine, high school's been good. Yeah. Middle school, those are tough days.
It's tough. It's hard when you don't know the kids because you're coming in from a country school and maybe you have 5 kids in the whole class that you know from country school. So you make new friends, and sometimes it's hard because they have their own friends. They've been together since first grade.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay, so you graduate from high school. What comes next?
Well, graduated from high school. I started working when I was a junior at a, quote, car hop job. And yes, it's the kind where you carried the tray out and hooked it on the window of the car. And
did you wear roller skates?
No, that was my next. No roller skates. No roller skates. Back then, roller skates.
Because we would be reenacting that this afternoon if that were the case.
I don't think so. I can still remember the customers that the minute that you put the tray on the window, they cranked the window down, so the tray would fall on the ground. So then you'd have to go back in because you have
and get on another. Oh.
Yeah. So that was a learning experience. You learned about people, learned about things like that, and then graduated from high school. 2 years later, I got married. From there on,
Push pause here for a second. Yeah. So this is what I'm hearing you say. you got kind of a bad impression from people growing up. Middle school was tough. The people at the car hop were selfish. And
Well, the people I worked with, the customers were the selfish ones. But
Yeah.
I think that taught me a lot about customer service.
Sure, okay.
When you worked with that, all my jobs after that, I really had to deal with customers a lot.
Because I think of you as such a generous, loving person, and I don't think I'd have to go far to find people. And it seems odd that a person who has maybe struggled with the people around her or been around people that were not good to her would end up being generous and selfless and giving like that.
I don't think I knew any difference, really, to be honest with you. You know, I didn't. You adapt when you go to country
Yeah, I
school and then
suppose.
that school, and then when you have a job, you have to learn the customers are always right.
Right? Okay.
So you adapt to that, and that really helped me, I think, be the working with people from there on out, because every job I had after that, I had to directly work with people.
Got it. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your story, but it was
So
just,
she got married.
you got married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got married, worked at a grocery store, met my first husband there, and 2 years later we got married. Changed jobs a couple times in there, worked at J.C. Penney's, went to work at the local bank for a loan officer, went to Farm Credit Services, went to Williams County Social Services, where I moved on to my state job, which I retired from. So
Okay, social services.
Williams County Social
Yeah.
Services, where I administer programs like Medicaid, food
Oh, sure,
stamps,
sure,
things
sure.
like that.
And then your state job, was that the same kind of
The
thing?
state job, I took the next step up, which I was the trainer for those programs, and
Got
I
it.
traveled the state. I had 13 counties in my
Oh,
area
wow. Okay.
that I need to travel the state, teach them the programs, help them process cases, do reviews, things like that. So
Got it.
on the road a lot for those years. But
Okay, and then somewhere in between, some children showed up, right?
we did. We had 2 children from my first marriage,
Okay.
Benjamin and Jackie.
And about when did you marry Marshall?
We got married in 2000.
2000, okay.
Yep. I can always remember that even year, so it
Oh,
was
yeah.
easy to
That is
remember
helpful.
anniversaries after the even year. Yeah.
So you got married in 2000. You were up in Williston, correct?
Yes, we got married in Williston, and then about 3-4 years later, Marshall's mom lived here in Bismarck. She was getting older. His father had passed away, and he really wanted to be closer to her. He was the only sibling that was close enough to be here, so he said, "Let's make the move to Bismarck." His job could move with him. My job could move with him, so
Okay.
it was easy to make the move to
Oh,
Bismarck.
terrific. And you've been here ever since.
Ever since,
And
yes.
when did you retire?
I retired, let's see, in 2014.
2004. Okay,
Yeah.
very cool. So worked here for 14 years and
Yeah.
been, and I know now you're still working. You know, you're retired, but you're still
Yep.
busy working at Plant Perfect.
Yes, I enjoy my coworkers at Plant Perfect. It's a seasonal job, which means I get the winter months mostly
Oh, yeah.
off. But then I work during the spring, summer, and fall, and 2 days a week, 3 days a week, and it's always exciting to see the stuff. And
Sure.
people are so excited to come in there. There's
Yeah.
never a grumpy customer at Plant Perfect.
Well, and that's wonderful, especially hearing your story up to that point.
Yeah.
There's never a grumpy. Yeah. And I know you work at Plant Perfect because you have helped us organize and host events there for the church, which brings me to my next question. Along this path, where has faith been?
You know, it's interesting because Marshall and I talked a lot about this, how involved we became when we came to Bismarck in church versus our church faith in Williston.
Okay.
When I grew up in Wheelock, the town that you're not familiar with, my dad absolutely refused to go to church. My
Really?
mom drug us to church. It was the old-fashioned brimstone and fire
Yeah.
type church. So when we got to Williston, I really didn't want to do anything with church, but my mom said, "You're going to get confirmed."
Sure.
Well, we got confirmed in the Missouri Synod.
Okay.
Missouri Synod Church was you had to memorize everything,
Yeah.
show up for every worship service, show up for every confirmation class, and then the final test was you had to get up in front of everybody and they could fire questions at you from the Bible, everything like that. So it was a nerve-wracking experience
Yeah.
for me to get up in front of people to do that.
No.
So after that, I
Random people or
families, parents, pastors, people from the council, anybody that was
Wow.
there to watch the confirmation, and they'd say, "Okay, recite the Apostles' Creed for me and explain the second article." That type of thing.
I
So-
remember confirmation growing up, and I had to memorize Luther's small catechism and the definitions or whatever, and it was hard. But you never had to do the whole thing at once. It was little chunks of it, and then I remember being nervous about memorizing my Bible verse for the actual confirmation ceremony. Everyone had to recite a Bible verse from memory. Today, Rob Pesky, Pastor Rob at Inspire Family Fellowship, I am about 6 months away from my Master's of Divinity If you told me I had to sit in front of the congregation where anyone could rattle off questions and I had to recite things, I would freak out. I would probably be looking for a new job. Like, that's terrifying to me. And they're doing this.
Yeah, and think that now when you're 14 years old.
I know. That's what I'm saying. And hopefully they were merciful. Hopefully they weren't trying to fool you or something.
The rest of our class just said, let us pass. We can get through this. But after that, I never went back to church.
Oh, so you got confirmed and you were out.
I was out. I wasn't going back to that church. My mom and dad were not attending church. My siblings were all gone.
Okay.
I had made a few friends in that church, but we kept our friendship, but we didn't attend church.
So your mom wasn't even going. She was the one who made you do all this stuff.
She did, but she would not attend church. I don't know why she picked Missouri Synod. The only thing I remember was that this was a round church, and the saying was the devil couldn't catch you in that church because it was a circle church. It was built in the round. So
Interesting.
It was interesting.
Okay. So church kind of floated away middle school-ish. At some point it must have come back, though.
It did. When I was married to my first husband, we moved into a house across the street from the parsonage.
Oh, okay.
So the pastor at that time at the church in town that he attended was very friendly, very outgoing, and I really liked him, so I gave church a second chance.
Okay.
And it was probably the best thing I did. And then they brought on what do I want to call it, a youth pastor, I guess.
Yep.
And he became one of our closest friends, and he and his wife are still friends to us today.
That's amazing.
Cool.
And between those two pastors, my first husband and I got into a lot of, not activities, but we became more active in church.
Sure.
And then later on, after we met the youth pastor, they kind of cornered us in. We were leaders of a youth group. We taught. We served on the church council. We did a call committee for 2 years.
Yeah.
So we kind of expanded our horizons in that church just because of the friendship we had with them.
Super cool.
Awesome.
Super cool. Yeah, and then I'm assuming you stayed there until you left Williston, probably?
We did, yep. I'm trying to think. Yeah, Marshall belonged to the same church at that time, so we knew each other. He was also a youth leader, so we did a lot of youth activities out of town, in town, and stuff. We had a big youth group, large amount of kids, probably 10 different sponsors that chaperoned and stuff like that. So we knew each other and stuff. And then he went through a divorce, I went through a divorce, and we got together after that.
Oh, great.
We were good friends, and friendship developed into more. And,
Terrific. So then you guys moved here in 2000. I had to imagine it was tough to leave that church behind.
Well, we actually moved here in 2009.
Oh, okay.
We stayed in.
You got married in 2000.
We
That's
got
what it
married
was.
in
Sorry.
2000. Yep. And then we lived out in the country, and we did a lot of stuff in the country. Remodeled a house, made some good friendships out there with the neighbors. And then in 2009, he wanted to be closer to his mom.
Okay.
So we moved to Bismarck.
So what was church shopping like for you? How did you, or let me think, I think your mom was going to, or your mother-in-law was going to a church. Is that how you ended up at Charity?
Well, the family did pressure us a tad to go to Charity because everybody else was there.
Sure.
But I just told Marshall we need to shop around. I didn't want to be overwhelmed by family at church when I went every Sunday morning.
Okay.
Unless it was a good one. And when you come from a blended family, you tread the navigating of getting all the kids together and seeing each other. You don't want to overwhelm and be together all the time. So we church shopped for a year.
Okay.
We went to almost every church in Bismarck.
Wow.
And we came back to Charity. We just felt that was the run, especially I think Pastor Randy is the one that spoke to us at Charity when he was there.
Sure.
And so we took the plunge and we joined, and it worked out okay.
Yeah.
So we were there at Charity until Randy decided to move on and start his own church, and we just decided we wanted to go there and get a fresh start and maybe get a little distance from family.
Sure. Well, and that's I was getting around to. I was like I told Amy, it doesn't seem like it, but I think about these podcasts before we get here. You guys were founding members of Inspire from day one. Am I right about that? We
were one of a group of probably 10 that started meeting at the medical building downtown in Bismarck, and then we followed over to Baymont.
Yep.
That's where I got involved with teaching Sunday school. Marilyn and I volunteered to take Sunday school, and so we were at the Baymont for 2 years, and then we came down here and stripped a lot of wallpaper.
Yeah. You guys were in all the time, and we talked a lot about with Marshall how he was, now I forget the word, it was like inspector.
Oh, yes.
But also had snooping in it.
Well, what's the word? The kids, they have a special term for him. snoopaholic or something like that, because he had to know everything that was going on.
He was just always around looking, have you thought about, look at this? Yeah. But,
or he'd offer, but then he would disappear when the work started.
Yeah. I've seen that move before. It's a good move. It's a good move. So.
But it was good. He was very, he just felt like home, and Inspire became a home to him.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
friends and a lot of good friends.
Talk a little bit about you and Marilyn teaching our 4th and 5th grade classes on Wednesday.
Well, I have to say, our class has grown quite a bit from the beginning. We probably started out over at the Baymont we had Ben.
Yeah, he was that first kind of generation that went through
the
that.
first generation. So we had maybe 5 or 6 kids. We followed them, and they started growing and growing. And right now, our class, we have anywhere from 25 to 35 on a Wednesday night. So, but it's good. Marilyn and I have a good teaching partnership, and then we brought Tim Jacobson in, and then Pam Upgren.
Yep.
And we each have an individual part that we do. Marilyn loves to do the lesson. She gets into the Bible and getting the kids involved. Tim is our game maker. Being a teacher, he's got up teen games. Pam and I fill in where we organize those two because they go off on their own sometimes.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
Well, so what always fascinates me, I get to come down to your room once or twice a year and visit with the kids, and that's wonderful and stuff. But we have to actually discipline our 6th graders and say, no, you cannot go back to see Janice and Marilyn every week. We'll let them go back. How do you build those relationships with those kids? Because, I'll be honest with you, middle schoolers, they're a mess. Yeah. I mean, they don't know where they're going, what they're doing. We jokingly say, if they have both shoes tied, we call that a win, Yeah. But they adore you guys, and they come back to you sometimes for years and years to check in.
I think it's more than just the candy.
It is.
They know the candy
drawer. They know the
than the
treat
candy
drawer.
Right. But how do you build those relationships with kids that last? Because, we have parents that listen to this. We have grandparents that listen to this. And I think we're all desperate to build relationships with our kids.
I think we've found with our kids, we always try to remember them by name. Mm-hmm. So that's why at the beginning of every year we get name tags on them. And one of our goals is to call them by name. We don't ever just say you or you or you. The other thing is they like the physical contact. You won't have a kid in our room that we haven't given a hug to.
Sure.
And they like that physical contact. Even some of the boys that kind of shy off, they come down and they give us hugs first.
Yeah.
So the physical contact, recognizing them as individuals, during the class, recognizing them as individuals, knowing their strengths and their weaknesses. I think we all realize they want to be individuals, and they do I just can't emphasize enough, we see them at supper, we see them out at Walmart, we'll give them a hug.
Yeah.
And all 4 of us are like that. And I think that they are comfortable with us, and we try to break it up into different things that they do. We always have a fun activity to wear some steam off to begin with.
Sure.
And then Marilyn goes into the lesson, and then we do a craft, or we do have somebody come and visit. Something to end the class with on a positive note. Then they get their laundry hands done, and then they get their treats and birthday prizes. On their birthday, we celebrate their birthdays. So
yeah. Well, it sounds like you love them.
We do.
And I don't think it's fake. I think we all talk about love the kids, but it is so genuine in your room. And
I don't think, and we've never had problems with kids that we have to discipline them or send them down to Kate's office or anything.
You just said that out loud.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Good luck this week.
In the hall on Wednesday.
And it's great. And one of the things that warms our heart is that when we finish class every Wednesday night, we open the door, and there's always kids from junior high and high school at our door, and they know the rule that as soon as our class is done and all the kids are gone, they can come in and get a treat. And we get those codes, and they're still giving us hugs. The juniors and seniors in high school are coming down and giving us hugs. And so we just made that connection with them at the 4th and 5th grade level. Yeah. And that's carried forward. Yeah. And we've talked several times about moving up. And Marilyn and Pam and Tim and I have all said we feel we can give the middle schoolers a good basis if we stay here.
Yeah.
So that's why we've stayed in the 4th and 5th grade.
And you certainly have. And I just... And that love continues. You just sent a letter to my son at basic training. He's almost 19 years old and off in the world, and you're still taking care of these kids.
Yeah, that's okay. They are always our kids, no matter what ages they are. I can go to a wedding, and they're still our kids. So
for sure. Well, that means a lot to us parents.
Absolutely.
And your kids have been through the program too, Amy.
My kids had Janice and Marilyn and the whole crew.
I still see Jace, Amy's guy. Hi. He comes down the hallway. Hi.
Yeah.
So.
Well, but I think all of us are looking for good people to invest in our kids and a safe place for them to go.
Yep.
You know, we know that kids are going to fight with their parents. That's it's a rule. Okay, we fought with our parents, but knowing that there's another place where they can go, there's other adults in their life that are looking out for them and loving them and you know,
keeping an eye on them.
Yeah, and we really like the Cedar meal that you do, getting the kids ready for that. That's kind of been our baby too, that we do a little bit extra for them. Marilyn started it some years ago. They all get a cross from us, a nice metal cross and a card.
Yeah.
And we each individually sign the card and give them that at the Cedar meal because we want their faith to keep growing. Just because, you know, they're going to be confirmed or whatever, that doesn't mean, or have First Communion, doesn't mean that we want to lose touch with them.
Absolutely.
So, and they have a cross to take home.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a special transition too, you know, going from that elementary level to middle school.
Yep.
Just your
So
special connection.
Yep. And Pastor Rob's, you know, we've gone through all 3 kids now, so.
Yeah, you've had all of my kids. Yeah,
we've had all 3 of those, and Emily still comes back to our room every Wednesday night.
She does, and I think Evan would, except we've yelled at him to stop going down there. And
he still comes yelling down the hall when he sees us.
Yeah, so that's beautiful. Yeah. So you have certainly made your place at Inspire through service and all of it, and I want to move into maybe a more sensitive topic, and that is that we did just lose Marshall. Not even a year ago. I mean, 7 months ago. And certainly a hard experience for you. It's been difficult for all of us here. But you and Ernie have been talking about this experience and are looking at how can we help people going through this. And you're looking at doing some grief care. What does that look like? If you're comfortable sharing that, I don't want to...
Yes. Yeah. I reached out to Ernie because after I lost Marshall, I have the pastors, I have you guys to talk to, but you need to be with someone that's maybe gone through it.
Yeah.
You know, like that, I mentioned those books I have, they walk you through the first year, but if you can get together and talk to someone that's been through it, it means a little bit more. And so I approached Ernie and I said, other churches have these groups, and it doesn't necessarily have to be for a loss of a husband. It could be a loss of a child, a sibling, anyone. I said, I really think we need to look at offering that here at Inspire, considering the number of people that we have. And then Ernie he said, you know how much I was just going to call you. He said, we just had 4 women in the last 6 months that have lost their husbands.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm trying to figure out how to help them. So it's kind of taken off from there. We're probably going to model it after those 4 books that we have. We're trying to figure out a way that we can offer those 4 books in a rotating pattern so people can move on each time.
Absolutely.
And so we just had a little bit of more conversation, and we're going to get together and try to put that together. And it's not going to be necessarily called a grief group, something more a loss, because there's different kinds of losses you have, different kinds of grief that you have. A lot of people don't understand the grief of losing your spouse is way different than losing a parent or a sibling or a child. There's different types of grief, and I think that we need to focus on the type of grief you're going through to understand it more. And so we're working out the logistics, hopefully have it up and running, do some trial and error over the summer, and maybe start offering it later summer.
Yeah. Well, and I just think that's amazing. The fact that as you are going through this grief yourself, you're also turning it into a ministry for others in the same motion. And I think it's certainly commendable, but it's probably the Holy Spirit working through you and speaking to you.
Well, and it's kind of interesting because I just started rereading our book club book last night, which is Bob Goff, Love Always.
Yep.
And that's what it boils down to. It doesn't matter what situation you're in, if you can put the love for Sunday school kids, the love for somebody that's grieving, the love for someone that's hurting, the love for just greeting someone at the door. If you put love always, it's going to be important to people.
That's crazy. Yeah. How has this experience manifested itself in your faith? I can't imagine it's easy, but how have those two come together for you?
Well, I think it all stems back on when I got involved in the church with my first marriage. And then you go through a lot when you get a divorce, and you need someone to lean on. Everything that the life throws at you, you need somebody to fall back on, and God was that for me. And as I've been at Inspire, that's become more important.
That's amazing. We hear stories here every time we record one of these, and it does seem that God uses the challenges in our life.
He does.
You know, you remember gratitude in a time of your life when maybe gratitude isn't the first thing on your mind.
Yeah.
You know, and even your story, you talk about faith, and it shows up when you've been struggling. You know, when, man, my marriage was in trouble, and we're trying to figure out blended families and dealing with the passing of loved ones, and I think as human beings, we just flee pain and suffering. I don't want that.
Yeah, and I think when you have that faith, you've got someone to talk to. You know, like after Marshall passed away, and I just did this last weekend. After Marshall passed away, the dog and I get in the car. We go out to the Veterans Cemetery. I take my chair out, and I'll sit and tell them about our week.
Yeah.
What went good, what went not good. Sunday we had ice cream bars. So we sat out there, you know. So that faith, I wouldn't have done that had I not have faith that he's with his mom in heaven, and he's there and he's still listening to me. If you don't have that faith, it's too big of a loss.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And what a blessing, or maybe you want to talk about this. I was there at the hospital with you guys at, you know, those last couple of weeks, and the whole family was there, and the whole family is faithful. I mean, we see the local kids are here at the church with us, and I know you've got family in other towns, but when they're in town, they're here at church. And I think of Emmy, right? Emmy comes and plays on String Sundays, and she's gone to camp with the kids. What is it like as grandma, mom, kind of the matriarch of your family, to see this faith spreading through your whole family? You know, it's not just you. And
I think it's I'm proud of the fact that my daughter, she's really embraced her faith. She lives up in Devil's Lake. She's been president of her church council. She's very good about getting the kids to church. She's gone through a divorce herself. She's remarried now, but she's still, even though her church is not as dynamic, they love the church down here. Emmy would stay down here if she could. She loves the dynamic here. Her church doesn't have that, but she still goes. BJ is married, and his family, and they are working through that. His wife is Catholic and he's Lutheran. So they're working through all those. And so they still are very involved in the church. They're getting the kids confirmed, doing that. And Marshall's 3 kids here all attend church. So it's good to, I think, had we not had that foundation after going through the divorce and everything, I don't know if the kids would have been as faithful to the church.
Yeah. And the example you set of staying faithful, staying connected to a church as you go through difficult times. You know, as pastors, we work with people, and I think about people going through a divorce. I think there's all kinds of feelings, but there's shame is part of that. And they tend to flee the church. Well, I'm not going to go because I'm, you know, in this place. And really, that's when we ought to be pushing in. That's when you need it. And the whole point of this faith is the forgiveness of sins.
Right.
You know, and it's awfully hard to remove that speck in someone else's eye when you hard to see around the plank in your own, you know. So. And
I think Marshall had a growing faith too, because he was involved in COCODUS for many years.
Okay.
And he went into prisons and talked to the inmates and stuff. So I think
really?
his faith.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yep. He did it with 2 or 3 guys from the Wollaston area, and they spent weekends at the prisons going through that. So he had a faith, and he probably helped me get more of my faith back too good. After some of the other churches.
I knew both of you, so I'm pretty sure you were good for him too. Okay, for what it's worth.
To hold him in every now and then,
No, we appreciate that.
So
man, I am so grateful that you're spending some time and your willingness to share your own difficulties with others. I think that is
not easy.
It's not. And here we are having this conversation. Is there anything else about your story or your life that you'd like to share with listeners? I don't want to skip over anything. But
I would just like to shout out that I am actually a great grandma.
Oh, congratulations.
I've got the 5 kids. Between the 5 kids of our blended family, we have 17 grandkids.
Okay.
So we have them from age 3 months to age 40.
Wow.
In there. And then one of the granddaughters, just had her first baby, and he is 3 months old.
Oh, that's so exciting.
So it's exciting to be a great grandma and a grandma, and I think, you know, those kids give so much to me. It's all of our grandkids. It's amazing to be a grandparent, and you'll find out someday, and so will Amy and Ty. But grandparents, the saying is true. You can spoil them and love them, and then you send them home. I'm just the family. I think just proud of the family. You know, there's been ups and downs with parents getting a divorce, a child getting a divorce, all the things that happen during life, the health issues, everything, and blended family, like I've mentioned several times. But the faith grows as
Yeah.
you go through all those years. Every little step, the faith really grows.
That's amazing. And that's, again, I feel like what we want to see at Inspire Family Fellowship is a place for the whole family.
Yeah.
And I think one of your questions asked me what do you like about and Inspire Family Fellowship, and the word family comes back to me. There's not a night I can't walk or a day I can't walk into this church, have someone greet me, have someone give me a hug, have Kate run me over in the hallway.
Yeah, you were assaulted on your way in.
I
here.
was assaulted, and then Isaac comes to save me. But Wednesday nights and Sunday mornings is like being with family. And I think that's what's important to me about. You can go to other churches, no matter what their name is, but you don't have that family connection like we have here. You know, people just watch out for each other here. Amy does the Dare to Care program. Just sending a note to someone sometimes just means that. And we learn how to do that on our own. Working with kids, they give you back so much. It feels like all these kids are part of my family and stuff. So I think the family is what's important. It's more than a church. It's a family home to come to every Wednesday and Sunday.
Well, thank God for that. Well, thank you so much for telling your story. I'm going to close with a little prayer here, and then we're going to avoid looking at Amy while she reads the outro again.
All right.
We don't want her to mess up. We'd have to start all over from the beginning and do this entire thing again.
Okay, it sounds good.
If she makes any mistakes at all during the outro.
Thank you for making this so easy, guys. I was a little nervous about this.
Oh, you did great. You didn't seem
awesome,
nervous at all. This was great.
No.
And that just goes to show if any other listeners are nervous about it, you can do this. It's not so bad.
Not a piece of cake. Yeah.
I don't think we've had
Don't worry,
anyone
Rob
ever
only
injured.
picks on me.
I only pick on you. That's how you know you're safe. As long as, and then I did one with my brother, and I just picked on him, so that was fine. So okay, well, let's go ahead and pray, and then we'll let Amy close it out. God, we thank you for this day and for all your blessings and the gifts you've given us. And Lord, I just lift up Janice to you, Lord. I pray that you bless her and guide her and watch over her. And Lord, I pray for her whole family and all of those kids and grandkids and even a great grandbaby now. I pray, Lord, that you're with them and guiding them and growing them closer to each other and closer to you, Lord. And then I pray for her whole other family, all of those other kids and workers with her here at Inspire, the current 4th and 5th graders, and basically every 4th and 5th grader that's come before them too. And Lord, I just pray that you bless those kids and you take good care of them, like we have tried our best to do here. Lord, I lift up our listeners. I pray that you bless them and keep them safe, healthy, and happy. Watch over them and guide them. And Lord, we just pray that in all things that we would be drawing closer to you and that we would be drawing others to you too, for your grace and your mercy and your peace. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Well, thank you so much again, Janice, and thank you, Rob, for the great conversation. Our listeners, we would love to see you here any Sunday, 9:15, 10:45, 523 North 21st Street. Wednesday, we are approaching our Ignite
Is finale next week.
finale.
It's next week from when we're going to release this. Yeah.
So we're
you got one shot on Wednesdays left.
Yeah, this is it.
Don't
Ignite
miss
finale. It's going to be a glow night, so wear your neon, wear your white, and be ready to...
There will be confetti.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Gosh, we haven't had enough of that lately.
Bring your helmets. I'm just kidding.
The night starts at 5 o'clock with a meal. 6 o'clock classes for all, and then our big finale worship service, which is going to be pretty epic. So we hope to see everybody there. You guys take care. Bye.
Bye.